Sana.
Praise God. Mtu aniamtie Ogoe na Clark Kivairu na mwingine ako pale. Najua ni afternoon, lakini tunaenda kwa session ambayo wengi wenu huwa hamsikizi, halafu mtapeana information ambayo iko distorted mahala kwingine. So I want you to be very attentive as you go through this session. I don't know whether it was by design that muende lunch kwanza ndio mkuje. This is the time when you struggle with your body system. It is trying to crush something down here and we need your upstairs. So be attentive. We have 2 reports this afternoon from the finance unit. We'll present to you the budget 2026, and then again present to you the audited financial statements for the year 2024 as a statutory requirement. So you heard the auditor is here. Vijana wametoka hapa wameenda, lakini I wanted to tell them in their church they don't appreciate members, but in ours we do. So GS, tafadhali upeleke hiyo ujumbe kule. Wasiseme ati Quakers we don't appreciate. But you've seen what innovation is, eh? Na tuko na CREAT hapa. CREAT ndio watu wa innovation. Hiyo I inasimamia innovation, si ndio? Sasa hii ubongo yote iko hapa yote, Gen Z yote. They can, mimi nikikaa tu kwa room they can do anything. Well, I'm seated. Hata sadaka unalipa kwa umekaa. So we need to move forward. I know our CREAT at some point decided to take us digital na mkakataa. I remember that. I think it was last year when we were told to register ourselves online. A number of us did, but many of you did not. Lakini hiyo innovation itakuacha. So umesema wanatumia simu. The church will also leave you behind. So when we go to that platform and you don't have an Android phone, I know some people here who are capable of buying an Android phone, lakini akona mulika mwizi. Na tunataka alipe tithe kwa mtandao. Sasa atalipia wapi? So we have, I want to thank the Chair Finance will be coming up with the budget. With the treasurers have done a wonderful job in terms of making that budget, but also in terms of presenting their reports to the audit function. So I want us to clap for all treasurers, because this year they have performed 100%. Wapigieni makofi. So I will allow the Chair Finance to summary these figures. They have them. So as you heard the clerk say, they have the figures. So you just, in summary, then we move to the next point.
Oh, praise God. As the clerk directed, I'll be very brief. I'll just be bringing in some item that I hadn't captured in the main report that is published in our booklets from page 110. So I'll just highlight one item that we've captured that we've also included in our budget. First, I want to appreciate our treasurers from the monthly meeting. Maybe the treasurers who are around, I've only seen one from Nakuru. I've not seen others. Vice, simama tu. Okay, that is Sister Florence. we work with her in the Finance Commission, pushing these issues of budget and other finance-related issues. Any other treasurer, maybe program treasurer? I've seen for Quakermen. Yeah, Quakermen treasurer. Anyaf, QCM. I saw Brother Jimbende around for QCM. Okay, thank you. So as a commission, we work together with the treasurers from the monthly meetings and the program treasurers to come up with this budget. And as a finance commission, we've been trying to improve the budgeting process. And this year, for the first time, we've also captured in the program budget into the year 2026 budget, though I didn't capture it into the printed on our booklet, but let me just highlight that one, and then I'll briefly talk about the budget, and then I'll have ended. For the year 2026, the main budget, we are proposing a budget of 69,165,676.8 cents. And then the QCM are also proposing a budget of 4,225,000. Quakermen, they are proposing a budget of 3.5 million. NYF, a budget of 3.4 or 30 million. The USFW have the highest in the program budget. They're proposing a budget of 8,852,500. Therefore, the total budget for the Nairobi yearly meeting, including the program budget, will be 89,173,176. On that budget, I did a summary on how they'll intend maybe to look at that budget. On the operational component, the main budget operational component is 65,040,083 shillings, while the self-financing, that is conference, retreats, and seminars, will couple about 4,125,593. Total 69,165,676. For the QCM, operational bit, they are looking at 450,000, while self-financing, that is a conference, retreats, and seminars, they're looking at coupling 3,775,000. Quakermen, operational 750, self-financing at 2,750,000. NYAF, operational 1,155,000, while self-financing 2,275,000. USFW, operational 3,252,500, while self-financing is 5,600,000. So that makes us the total budget for the yearly meeting to be 89,173,176,000. So that was the bit that we hadn't captured into the document that we have printed here. So allow me to go straight to the document that we have, and that is okay. Thank you. Okay. My thinking. From the full report, what I hadn't captured only was for the programs, but for the main, it is in this written document. That's why I highlighted them on the presentation.
No, the point I'm trying to bring is this is a delegates general conference, yeah?
Okay.
You are reading what we don't have.
Okay.
And I would wish to understand whether the rest of us are comfortable with that, reading what we don't have.
Okay, I can share it to the delegates for their consumption. Clerk can guide. Yeah, yeah, you can project it.
So I think the delegate there is requesting for information which should be projected. Hii projector inaonekana wale ambao mko kule mwisho. I can see Eric. Eric, are you able to see from where you are? Are you able to see from where you are? Clark, Nairobi? Are we all on the family platform? The NYM family platform? Are we all on that NYM family platform? Or the clerks? Okay. So we can put that on that platform in a short while. In the meantime, I'm sure it's only just about one page. Yeah? Can someone, where's the create team? Are you able to put it there quickly? Yeah. So I think let that be put, then we can proceed.
Okay, thank you, Clerk. I think that one will be put to members for consumption. On what we have put in the, what we have published is for the main budget. And the main budget, I'll go to the summary, that in the year 2026 budget, we have proposed a budget of 69,165,675, and it is a growth of 6.23% for the year 2025. In the year 2026, the year 2025, the budget dropped by 3%, but for the year 2026, we are proposing a growth of 6.23%. On the income bit, we have retained the same income vote heads, apart from a few that have come up. One is the investments. We are saying that in the year 2026, we are looking forward to at least recouping some income from the investment that we have done in the money market, and we are projecting to recoup about 275,000. That is a new income line that we are looking at. We also looking at requesting support from our local meetings towards the mission work that the church is engaged in, and we are requesting for, we'll be proposing that the local meetings can support the mission activities by contributing a minimum of 3,000 per year. That is towards the mission activities, and with a total of about more than 95 local meetings with a minimum of 3,000, we'll be able to raise 285 to support the mission. And then we're also looking at people coming in to volunteer in doing mission activities. And with that donation, volunteer in kind, we'll be able to raise about 50,000. This one will come in when, for example, if one of us can volunteer maybe to give something in kind, and if we value it, we are proposing that for the entire year, that in-kind support can come about 50,000. Donations and partnerships, like the one that the clerk launched today, we are saying that in the next financial year, that's the year 2026, we are looking forward to receiving donations to the tune of 150,000. On the issue of selling of branded merchandise on Mission Day and on such like a day, and also when we are carrying out our mission activities, the offertory that are received on that, we are looking at raising about 120,000 for the entire year. And that one will go a long way in supporting our budget. And then the bulk of the funds will come from our monthly meetings, that will be allocated in terms of our budget, and that is about 15,860,000. And then the self-financing bit will be 4,125,593. And that is on the expenditure and income bit. On the criteria that we used in sharing our budget, in the next financial year, we have cut down on the criteria from 8 to 5 to use in that we have used in allocating the budget to our local meetings. And the first criteria that we adopted was the membership subscription. And that one, we have allocated it at 12%. And then the church development level, which to some extent is still contentious because we do not have enough parameters to help us determine the development level of a church from one monthly meeting to another monthly meeting. But we have retained the old rates that we were using in allocating the budget, and we have given it 15%. Previous year's budget, it has taken 20%, while the number of pastors is 45%. Distance from Nairobi, that one normally benefits meetings that are far away from Nairobi. We have allocated it 8%, a total 100%. The budget allocation to the meetings is as stated with the meeting that has received received a budget did not have a budget increment was Nairobi with a negative 4%, while the meeting that received the highest budget allocation that received the highest increment in the budget allocation in the year 2026 was at 15%. I think with that, I beg to end. Thank you so much, Akla.
Thank you, Chair of Finance. I believe they have now put the budget for programs 2026 on the general board wall, the NYM family wall, and the clerk's wall to be shared across our delegates. So maybe we can request for a proposal. Finance, do you have the budget? Do you have the other report present? No. So we can, before discussion, we can adopt it, the report, then I'll invite questions. So can I get a proposer and a second? So Pastor Keith Kariobangi, alafu seconder, Clerk Victor Lodeki, Nairobi. Pastor Keith Kariobangi, Msirwa, then Clerk Victor Nairobi, Lodeki. Thank you. So then we can invite interventions on that report. I'm very happy that we are alert. Admin was worried that hii afternoon itakuwa mbaya, lakini nimeona hiyo alertness kwa hiyo document ambayo ilikuwa missing has impressed me. Nafikiri tuko pamoja. So let's have any concerns. Mahesabu ni ngumu, lakini hapo ndio kila kitu iko. Without finances, we can't move. Money matters are spoken of in the Bible kwa wingi sana. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu. Nimeona pale, yes, that is a daktari. Yes, daktari FIC Ngongoro monthly meeting.
Yeah, hamjambo nyote.
Tujambo.
Bwana Yesu asifiwe sana.
Take note.
Yeah, kwa majina ni Haemba. I'm just also going through the budget so that I can also get to understand it much. One of the questions that runs through my mind, I was hoping to hear about, for example, budget arrears and things like that. And the reason I talk about that is that we have increased 2026 budget by 6% margin. And I'm just wondering, when we have not been able to meet our target and we increase it by a certain percentage, I'm wondering what strategies maybe we will have to ensure that we are able to meet the budget. Going by what I heard yesterday from the clerk's speech, even for example, the payment for pastors often delays. And so an indicator of the struggle that meetings have. And now that we have increased this to a higher level, I don't know what interventions the team maybe has for us so that we can be able to meet the same. Thank you.
Very good question. Thank you so much. Finance, note that down. Any other can have, yes, Pastor Shadrach, then Pastor Sanga, and then Mugire, and then Sister Florence. Beatrice.
Okay, thank you, finance team. My question is, the time he was reading, he talked of something about the distance from maybe one monthly meeting to the other monthly meeting. And then at the end of the day, he said that the meetings from far are the beneficiaries, which means we are using scientific method to get to prepare the report of Nairobi yearly meeting. My question is, do we have another method apart from scientific? If we have mathematical method, we can use it rather than scientific.
Thank you so much, Pastor Shadrach. Maybe just before you go, do you have a suggestion? Maybe just, yeah.
Yeah, a suggestion, since I've seen the programs, the programs we are giving, let's say we are giving them double. The yearly meeting is giving them something, and then they move around with the word empowerment, and then we give them some money. That is the Arambe, let's say Arambes. If we can remove the programs from this budget of the Nairobi yearly meeting, the budget which we will give to our monthly meetings will be favorable by August to have finished.
Thank you. Take note, Pastor Msanga, then Sister Beatrice. Hope you're noting down those questions.
Thank you, Clerk. Na wasalimu wote hamjambo.
Hatujambo.
Our chair of finance is my member, and it's not good to ask him at home the question because we are in the AGM conference. My question is that from his presentation, he has said that Marisaba has an increase of 15% compared to last year, which was -1%. So I would like just him to elaborate for me and the rest of the members of Marisaba, so that when we go on the ground, we can be able to have a backup to him to say this was the reason. Thank you.
Pastor Msanga, today the chair finance is my member and GS. Mambo ya nyumbani tutaongelea nyumbani, but because you're a delegate, you'll get a response from my member and GS, not your member here.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
My question, which remains a question that I asked last year, why we can't just get budgets from absolute numbers, as in percentage-wise, other than this scientific way that you can't really justify. One reason I would ask, when you say previous year budget, I think is it reduced to 20%? But year on year, I would give an example from where I am. We are yet to meet the budget, and it's many reasons towards that. So my question is, why can't we have a percentage-wise budget? And also, numbers don't lie. You talked about numbers. I look forward to when we'll have the digital so that we can demystify or maybe expose ourselves to the numbers as they are, because I think we are stuck that some of us are not remitting all because maybe we are hiding some. I'm looking forward to when maybe you can have the digital platform for all so that numbers can be exposed for what they are. And also another thing, numbers don't necessarily translate to cash, depending on the, I would say, your environment or your catchment area. There could be an assumption that where you are, there's supposed to be people who are endowed, for lack of a better word. But we all appreciate that most of our churches, our members have grown, but we still relate to the yesteryears that tuko pale chini. So maybe we need to go digital and to be able to see the numbers for who they are. Because I've seen we are saying numbers, membership. Membership does not necessarily translate to actual money. Thank you.
Before you sit, do you want to break it down a bit just by way of an example?
Yes, I'll give an example.
Yes.
If I'm collecting $1 million, why don't you task me to give you 20% or 10%? And it's even across board, not scientific ways that you can't really quantify. He alluded to the fact that he doesn't know how the development level. So development level means that members also demand I would say proper ambience or good ambience, and that is what is expected. So it's not so much upstreaming, but also quality of the place. So mine would be suggestion with percentage-wise.
Okay. Asante. Na unapokusanya milioni moja, uko tayari kuniambia kwamba unaokota milioni moja kwa ground? Tuko tayari? Kama mnaokota milioni moja, uko tayari kutuambia kwamba sisi mapato yetu ni milioni moja? Ogoe. Very briefly, and then I hope you don't forget. Yeah. Mko tayari kutuambia mnaokota milioni moja?
You can know whether we are collecting 1 million or not. That is a bit difficult to say. But my question goes to this scientific method where we are increasing, others we are giving 0%, other we are giving 1%. I think you said here before us, the delegates, that you don't know the number of Nairobi yearly meeting members. And what we are using mostly scientifically is the number of members to arrive at the budget allocations. Now that we don't know the number of members, what type of scientific method was used to arrive at this figure, whereas we are giving Mailisaba 15%, Changamwe we are giving 6%, others we are giving 0%. What type of scientific method did we use in order to arrive at this percentage?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So as they come in to respond, some of the general struggles that they've had is the finance team is comprised of treasurers from all the meetings and programs. Unfortunately, the attendance ya mikutano tends to be very, very poor, so that people don't come to participate in those sessions. And yet time is moving and decisions have to be made. So sometimes we don't get it right. So the level of commitment ya viongozi wetu pia haiko nzuri sana. Then the cooperation, like you can ask for bank statements from some meetings and you find that they don't give to you. I remember there's a meeting that when we were doing the audit, tukauliza watupatie statement just as a matter of routine because we can get it, but we don't want to, look like you want to use your power. So we asked them to give us. Then some meeting goes to the bank, wanaambia bank msipeane statement yetu. Sasa hiyo pesa ni ya chair finance kuja ujibu maswali kidogo na treasurer. Then do you have any other burning? Okay, we'll take maybe 2 more.
Oh, thank you, Clerk. I'll allow our treasurer the treasurer will respond to the question of our Beatrice. So treasurer, I'll also have my vice chair that we normally sit in that commission with, but I'll not allow her to respond to any question because Pastor Kidika atanimeza for now. I'll start responding to the question of Pastor Haemba Daktari on the issue of arrears and still the increase in the budget. When we look at last year, our budget did decline. That one we agree. But we looked at all the parameters that were involved that led to the decrease in the budget. We also did a budget rebate to the meetings because we looked at the areas that we budgeted for, but we did not spend on. That is why we did that rebate, and meetings received that rebate. On the increase, it is informed by what is happening in our environment, because when we look at the biggest budget component being the pastor's salaries, is the biggest budget component, and that one is the one that has led to that increase. And if we really have to pay our servants well and all our staff, we have no option about it, but we are requesting that our meetings kindly work extra hard to remit this budget. Clark has alluded to many times that in our meetings on the ground, people prioritize maybe other activities at the expense of the budget. If we could have used the same effort to maybe fundraise to pay our budget, it could also have gone well down well to in helping us receive that budget from our meetings. But we end up maybe fundraising to only do development activities, but we do not prioritize that one to the budget. So it is a wake-up call on us that let us put in extra efforts to see to it that we prioritize our budget so that it come in to support the yearly meeting in carrying out its activities. Or the question asked by Senior Shadrach on the distance as a benefit to the meetings, it was arrived on the basis that those meetings that are from far-flung areas of Nairobi, they spend so much in coming to Nairobi to attend to most of the meetings that are normally hosted in Nairobi, like the board meetings. And also when commissions hold meetings and they have delegates from those far-flung areas, they spend so much in coming to attend those meetings. So it was a way to also cushion them, albeit in a small way, so that the meetings in Nairobi that do not spend anything on their delegates to attend or maybe spend something small on those people to attend those meetings, at least they help cushion those meetings that come from far. So it was arrived at that level, and the percentage allocation to that criteria is only about 8%, which is not so much. On the programs, also having that allocation in the main budget, it is on the view that when programs hold their meetings, they are supported maybe in just having a meal for those participants who have come in to attend that meeting. If we'll agree with the meetings in future, with the programs to remove that allocation from the main budget, then that one will also go a long way in helping the monthly meetings to receive a lesser budget. On the question asked by my senior Musanga on the increase of Mile Saba, yes, senior, our budget allocation, which and the criteria that we have used, the number of pastors, on our criteria, that is 45% relating to the number of pastors. Our allocation on the number of pastors is equal to any other strong meeting that has the number of pastors like Mile Saba, which maybe Mile Saba might not be as strong as the other meeting that has the same number of pastors. So that has affected us negatively, but I think I will address that one when we get home, so that we see on the best way to, or at least accept that budget as it is and service it. Because I know we have that capacity and we'll be able to do it. Because I also have the treasurer for some of my local meetings are here. And when we'll go home to discuss that one, they'll not refuse to accept that budget as it is. I'll let the treasurer at least respond to the question from my sister Beatrice and Brother Ogoe. I know they are friends, at least Brother Ogoe will understand that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Finance. Now, science and mathematics. Unajua mkiongea kizungu mingi hapa, kuna watu wengine hapa wataenda nyumbani wakisema watu walikuwa wanaongea huko mbele sijui scientific, sijui nini. Now, for the people who are here who understand what mathematics is math a science or an art? Yeah? It is both. Unajua ukisema both nitakusimamisha we explain how it is both. Is math in any way a science? Huh? Not in Kenya. You know, we are now in academics here. Is math a science or an art? A science. So is budget mathematically made or artfully made? Eh? Tuelimishane? Eh? The budget is numbers, isn't it? It is mathematics. And therefore, we can only make the budget scientifically. The art part is where we visited you and asked you, what is your view on the criteria used by Nairobi L meeting to distribute its budget to meetings? And we socially met you. That's an art. So we had to employ tactics of getting information from you so that we can scientifically apply it to the numbers. Isn't it? Unanielewa vizuri, my friend Ogoe and my friend Beatrice. The budget, if you have to allocate money to anyone, you must calculate. You don't just come there and say, hey, niko na 2,000 shika, and then the other one, when shika hii, without looking, wewe mwingine atakwambia, how did you determine that you are giving me 1,000 and gave this one 2,000? What criteria did you use? Tuko pamoja? Now, so the budget has to be made mathematically, which is science, and distributed using a criteria, which is science. If you want art, we can do art. Again, we come and count. Again, this is where the clerk said here, when we ask for accurate numbers, you don't give us accurate numbers. We can use that art and come, you count, but even after counting, that is mathematics. Okay? So, hatutaki kutumia majina kubwa kubwa, whether it is scientific or not. The criteria the finance used was actually a criteria that was sourced from all our meetings. And your meeting was represented by your treasurer. Now, if your treasurer is here, please go and ask them. Hii science mulitoa wapi? But if you read your book, it shows you very well that in 2025, the criteria used gave us these percentages, and the same finance treasurers sat down, looked at, after you said that criteria seems to be unfair in many other ways, they went back and sat down and said, how unfair is this criteria? And therefore they tweaked it again And you can see there's a change in that criteria. And that is a method they used, and it has been presented throughout the organs of the church. Everyone has looked at it, your leaders looked at it, and they said, yeah, despite its own challenges, we can live with that for the time being. So then we said, that is fine. Now, we have proposals. I think we'll take those as proposals, like our friend, the treasurer of FIC there, in terms of taking a percentage of what you get. But let me tell you where you fail as a church. You will come to a meeting like this one and, make those proposals. But what happens at home is different. And the auditor is not here, I'm an auditor also, I'll tell you, because I'm a treasurer, I see those reports. Meetings don't present to us the complete statistic of what happens. And when we go to most of our meetings, you will not find an accurate record of collections that happen every other time. And therefore, even if we applied a percentage on what you receive, it will still be inaccurate. Okay? And I will tell you the statistics we get on how, when meetings receive money and how, and the clerk said here in his speech, that we are not prioritizing as meetings where money is collected, and those are local churches, by the way. The local church you go to, when you go back to that local church, find out, are they remitting what needs to be remitted to the church? Nairobi are remitting. Are they? So ask that question, think about it when you go back home. So that, and also look for your treasurer. And when they're making the budget, and this is also where you fail, because the budget process is announced throughout the whole church. And everyone gets that information. And they normally say, your representative will be coming for a meeting to talk to us about budget, and they make a budget and they present. So your treasurer, who is your leader, then represents your views to the finance committee. So for the science and the art, we all agree that it's a science. We can look at the proposal of, modifying, and every time we keep on modifying this criteria all the time. And you saw last year we actually reduced the budget that was allocated to meetings. This year, the budget has gone up a bit. Why? Because the church has activities to perform. You heard the clerk talk about mission. How do we fund mission without money? It is through that budget. You heard here that we are implementing the salary increment for our staff that was proposed in 2021 and never implemented. It is now being implemented. Now, how do we fund that? When we increase the salaries, what does that mean? The budget will do what? Lakini kama pia hamtaki kulipa wachungaji wenu, pia mseme tu hapa, wako hapa watasikia. Ndio tujue hatutaki kuwalipa. Bado hatuwalipi pesa yenye tungependa kuwalipa. Lakini ile kidogo tunaongeza inamaanisha pia budget itaenda juu kidogo. Ndio treasury iweze kulipa hao wachungaji. As we speak now, the clerk said, we have, I think, 7 meetings that we have not been able to pay their staff because of budget remittance. So I want to stop there. I think I've talked about the science and the art. Thank you.
Asante. I think there was one last one just at the back. Ziko mingi sana. Meamka. Okay. What microphone? Just from behind there. Those one? Yep. Yeah. Keep it brief so that we get the next session.
Okay, thank you. My question was a little bit answered. I wanted to know how do you establish the development level of a church, but he said he does not know. So maybe we need to look at it so that we see, because I can see it's carrying a big weight now. It used to carry 5%, now it's carrying 15%. Either with the asset valuation that we said, we can be able to establish that. Then I just wanted to understand what does it mean when you say the previous year budget, the weight that it carries there. But another thing I also noticed from the that you have shared in the family, there are formulas there. We can be able to get them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's just come to
Asante Clark. Swali langu liko regarding our priorities in terms of expenditure, ya kwamba tukishapata senti tunapeana kipaumbele kwa kitu kipi? Na nauliza hivi kwa sababu tunaposema wachungaji mishahara zinakuwa na that delay, na mkutano maybe iko na wachungaji wawili, na maybe unapoangalia the remittance kwa mwezi tuseme ni 120 average, na wanazingatia kupeana kwa wakati, na unakuta mwezi utaelekea kuzeeka na still mshahara haipo. Sasa swali langu tu ni kutaka kujua ya kwamba priority kwa upande wa expenditure ni ipi?
Asante sana mchungaji Kitole. Kibra,
Thank you, Clark, for giving me this chance to contribute to this agenda. I'm looking at this document on page 110, and looking at it keenly, I'm seeing this is all about expenditure. Under item number 5, it's under programs, where previously they have been spending. In the year 2025, they spent 300,000. 2026, they intend to spend 225. Now, what we've just been presented, we've been told that there is an improvement where programs have been provided for. So my first question is, if at all in 2025 they spent, where did the money come from? If at all this is the first time they are being provided for in this budget. Question number 2, how do, according to this budget provision, in fact, programs require more money. The question is, how do these programs intend to raise the funds in order to realize their objectives? The number 3 is all about when is this particular budget to be harmonized, given that we are being given in piecemeal. In this booklet, different figures, on WhatsApp, different figures. If I have to go home right now, which figures do I have in terms of expenditure and income for the budget 2026 Nairobi year meeting? Thank you.
Thank you. There's a final one here. Let's give Stanley, because you're the one who raised the issue of the missing page.
Thank you, and I'm still raising on the issue of missing report from Kariobangi monthly meeting in the booklet, which I presented very early. I was among the earliest people. But that aside, because people asking me why I brought it late, maybe that's why it was not published. But that aside, I'm actually on the issue of our finance advisors. This team that is advising us on the matter of finances. Yesterday, when you listen to what the clerk was saying, is that he has an agenda. And the agenda is first and foremost to implement what was not implemented before, in our pastors, the increment that was there. Now, looking at the figures, you realize that the system you are using is not working. You can see you are the same person saying budget is not remitted, some monthly meetings are not completing the allocation. And it's the same system you are using to say that we will use it to pay the pastors. So when you listen and that, you look at it and find that maybe there's a double speak. There's no actually proper advice to our clerk on how he will manage to pay our pastors. So I would wish, or maybe request, that the finance team sits down again, relooks at everything, prioritize the priorities of our clerk so that he's able to stick to his agenda.
Thank you. I think allow me to apologize about the Karibangi for the missing report. Because that one we have no excuse. Maybe if it came in late, but we are sorry about that. Karibu, sister.
Thank you very much, Clark. Mine is an observation and a way forward which I'm seeking so that in this AGS we can adopt and which is missing. From yesterday, from your speech, and today you have given us a report on the finance, the figures are there. There's that lamentation that there's no remittance, 100% remittance of the finances as allocated to the various monthly meetings. Two, the finance team does not know the total number of members of this church. So my question, not really my question, yes, my question is, what is the way forward? Because we are lamenting, we are talking about it, and then we finish and go. Which resolution with your top arm of decision makers did you come up with so that it can be adopted here on the way forward of remittance of budgets by the various meetings so that we don't continue having gaps, defaulters, and yet you're adding more money. So I don't know whether even it will be paid. So what are the facts or decisions that you have put across to us to adopt so that we firm up on the numbers? People's monthly meetings should give us the right numbers. If we are a church, why should we fail to know the numbers? I think some decisions, firm decisions need to be made. A way forward here should be adopted so that we move on. Otherwise, it is going to be a continuous vicious circle. We don't know the numbers. Budgets are not being remitted. Another year comes, percentages are being added and so on. So way forward. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. So I think we are done. Kuna mwingine, is it burning? Is it burning ile ya kuuma? Is it burning? Let's stop there for now. I think let me invite them as they come in. Is it burning? Okay, there's someone burning there.
Yeah, thank you, Clark. I'm just trying to think, and maybe Treasury can help me understand. in one of the conferences we've had in the past, they've told us, don't be scared of us when we say that we are coming to audit your books. And I just wonder because there are times we are told that treasurers, even at the local level, need to bring their books so that they can be audited. And if that truly happens, I don't see why the treasurer at the yearly meeting level cannot explain the status of finances within the church so that we are able to determine our capacity. My assumption is that after the audit, that information is conveyed upwards so that the local church financial records are well known, financial ability is well known, so that it can also inform, for example, the employment, it can inform whatever things that we want to plan. And that for me is very important. Two, maybe this is just by the way, in one of the conferences we've held in the past, one of the speakers also spoke to us and said, when you are milking a cow, also ensure that you feed it well, so that we, as we prioritize the budget, we shouldn't also throw out of the window the needs of the members at that local level and say that, for example, you come last, that there should be a form of a balance and an agreement. And that's why we will desire a scientific way of ensuring members feel serviced and the budget also is paid. But for me, when you audit, unless if the audit is not properly carried out, we should be able to have some good information or basis when it comes to budgeting and all that. Thank you.
Asante sana. Chair Finance, Matoshara. Clark Mwanzi, najua tuko kwako. Iko shida gani?
Asante kiongozi wetu wa mkutano mkuu wa Nairobi. Labda niseme tu one, tumepatiwa hapa figa ya 69, 165, 677. Budget ya programs ambayo tumesomewa kando haiko hapa. So mimi najiuliza, as we adapt this, hiyo figa ya programs iko wapi? Because itakuja nyumaye na itaanza tena kututatiza. Kwa hivyo clerk, tuelezewe kwamba shall we adapt this report na hii figa itasalia hivi minus figa ya programs. Asante.
Okay, I think let me address that quickly. We had due to the late submission of information by most of the meetings, we had a problem with our printer. Printer wetu ambao tulikuwa tumejicommit kwake alijiondoa last minute, and we had to get another printer very late, either Saturday or something, who had to work overdrive to deliver this. That's why some of these things are challenging. Na nimeambiwa kwamba hata ukiangalia hizi programs booklets zetu, there are some information which has been fitted in ambayo haikutoshea kwa hiki kitabu. So that could have been an issue, but the work of God must continue. Secondly, on the issue that you've raised about what to adopt, the report missing is a page on the program budgets. Now we should then adopt this. Now do we call it an amendment or what do you call it? Kizungu? an annexure. Me na you exhibit where I work from. So it's with an annexure. And just to tie up that issue of the programs that in the past, programs have been spending, but we've not been capturing the expenditure. Na tumeonelea ni muhimu programs ziweze ile pesa ambayo wanatumia hata kama inatoka kwa ground directly ni pesa ya kanisa. Pastor Kiplimo na kujibu. We are not giving programs double budgets. Naamua tu kwamba whatever they are spending ni ya washiriki na ni church money, ni vizuri tujieleze vile tulivyo. So hizo figures zote zikuwe included kwa hii report. Na mahali penye itatokea sometimes kuna donation, kuna maybe mshiriki amefanya kitu kule kwa ground na kadhalika, but it's important to capture every aspect of church money because that also reflects our true worth. If we don't capture what we are spending by even commissions, by every department of the church, we will be unfair to our members who are actually giving a lot of money. I don't think Nairobi yearly meetings budget is a 60 million budget. We are spending way much more than this. So that should tie up the issue why we have this problem and the issue of the programs. Chair, maybe you have to say one or two things, then I wind up. We move on to the next items.
Okay, thank you, Clark. I think I'll just respond to the question by Brother Madegwa on the development level and the percentage allocation. And I said very well that we've not clearly not understood our development level of our church, because when I say, for example, Ngong Road monthly meeting is developed, what am I basing on? But that is something that as a commission, we are looking forward to working hand in hand so that we can be able to determine very well the development level, so that whatever that I'm allocating to a certain meeting, I can be able to differentiate it from another meeting, and it clearly is shown that that is the development level. We can maybe use looking at the financial performance of that meeting in terms of offertory, tithe, and then the number of members, so that it can help us to determine the development level of that meeting. And the previous year's budget is what the budget that was allocated to that meeting. So if your meeting had a higher budget allocation, believe me that you will receive a higher budget allocation in the current year budget. Or in terms of the programs and reduction in the budget, we were looking at the actual expenditure that the program spent, and that one helped us to forecast how much they'll be able to spend as the expenditure for the following year. In the previous year, we allocated like 300,000, but when we looked at the actual expenditure for the year for the previous year, we realized that they underspent. That is why we allocated them 225,000. So we reduced their projection for expenditure for the programs in the main budget. Harmonizing the program budget and the main budget, that is what we are trying to. And when we look at what has been shared on the platform, the sheet that relates to the program budgets, I've captured every detail per program, how much they are intending to spend, to raise, to spend and to raise.
I'll be quick here because I think the question by Senior Pastor Ketole, I think it more applies to him, and the clerk explained here. Senior Pastor, prioritization, the clerk already addressed that matter, that when you go back home, you prioritize the budget. Why are we asking questions about it again? Bado mna dukuduku? Ama sio nyinyi mlisema hapa? Si ni nyinyi? When you go back home, the first expenditure you incur is the budget, which is used to pay salaries. In fact, there's nothing I sign in Treasury. Kwanza, I feel that I'm underutilized with all this white hair on my head to only sign salaries. So when it comes to NYM, the office of the clerk, the first priority is salaries. Hakuna kitu ingine. You can even ask the GS here. When he says, oh, I want to do that, tunamwambia ngoja kidogo. Number one, tumemalizana nayo. Kama hatujamaliza, Hata kuna wakati aliniuliza, sasa kama hujalipa mshahara conference itafanyika kweli? Nikamwambia hiyo ni statutory requirement tutafanya. So I think we have had that one. In terms of Daktari, the treasurer of Nairobi yearly meeting is very well articulating the status of books in the yearly meeting. I think dukuduku konayo ni kwamba I'm giving you information, but the information you have on the ground is different. So unashangaa, you know, you could be having an income of 10 million in your own church per month, but then you remit a paltry figure. So when I tell you that figure, you wonder, is this my church? So you could be having that problem. But Treasury is articulating your financial status as Nairobi yearly meeting perfectly well, and you're going to see it here in a very short while when you come here. So we know the numbers you've given us. The problem is, those numbers you gave us, and your Quakers, are not reflecting what is on the ground. So you're actually lying to yourself, not to us. Because we have numbers. We know the members of Kariobangi, we know the members of Malindi, we know the members of, because you tithe, and the tithe report comes here. So kama kuna zile mnaficha, ni shauri yenu. Sisi tunatumia zile mnatupati. So when you see the criteria of number of members, believe you me, we have that figure, and you are the one who gave us. It is just that that figure is not accurate. And then, Clerk, I would like to request that when your leaders, our leaders stand up to ask a question, we also ask them a question. Kwa sababu hizi figures pia nao waliziona mapema. Inafaa kwa wanajibu hizi maswali on our behalf. Asante.
All right, thank you. Let's clap for Treasurer and team. In conclusion, we've lamented a lot. We must have some way forward either way. And I did say that I've had the privilege of visiting every monthly meeting. I've also had the privilege of visiting almost half the more than 50 local meetings out of 100 local meetings. I've done maybe 60 or 70, quite a number. And what I've seen is that there's lots of development on the ground, and yet to find that we are not getting money to pay our clergy. I'll give an example. If you look at my remarks there, na sasa hizi ni kuambiana ukweli kuna mkutano nimesema pale kwamba inajenga QCM block worth how much? 17 million. That monthly meeting is one of the meetings I've not paid their pastors as we stand here. So hata mchungaji anapojenga hiyo mjengo anafurahia kweli? Na ni kitu kubwa. Pastor Mukima alikuwa anasema hiyo ni challenge kwetu. Please. Serikali, those of you who work in government, kuna ile mnaita exchequer, ile pesa inaingia pale, mbona mnaitanga which fund? Consolidated fund. Hiyo fund, hii ushuru yote inapoingia pale, madeni ya loans, these foreign loans we keep on taking, is normally the first to be charged on that item. When you sign contracts, hiyo pesa lazima iende kwanza ndio shughuli na mambo yetu. And that's hence the request to these delegates that we flip our expenditure plan. When we get tithe, sadaka, thanksgiving, donations, fundraising, jambo la kwanza, tuleteni budget, tulipe watumishi wenu, ili wawahudumie kama wako na furaha. Number 2, let us spend money on mission work, spreading the gospel and touching lives, touching the community. Lindi School hapa nyuma, you go there and it's pathetic. You don't know what to do with them. So when we touch lives, God will bless us. And when we are blessed, mambo itakuja tu yenyewe. Washiriki watafurahia, wachungaji watafurahia, kanisa itaendelea. Then development ikuje mwisho. Because what's been happening is that most of us are keen on development. Si mbaya kujenga makanisa kubwa kama yetu na kadhalika. Lakini tuanzie kwa watumishi ambao wanasimama katika madhabahu haya. And I said, when the clergy are happy, the church will be happy. When the clergy cry, it is not good. And I revealed that I have a prophecy on my desk where God spoke to somebody to tell me, please take care of your clergy. And that's why I had to put it in this annual general conference. So let's go back and take care of our clergy. Let them preach joyfully. They went to the same school, na wachungaji sijui wa Sitam, wa Baptist, wa wapi, and those clergy, they are doing well. They drive cars, they live in good homes, they have good medical covers. Ours, we are struggling. Their children go to good schools. Who says that our pastors ndio lazima waende kwa shule za kubahatisha? It can't work like that. So friends, the solution which we are proposing is that priority on expenditure must be changed. And that way, I believe when we come here next year, although suffering is universal, tusikuwe tunalia kila wakati, kila wakati. Number two, Professor Khaemba talked about arrears. Why are we still, and I think Sister Beatrice or somebody else, why do we still keep on having these arrears all the time? Why do we keep on carrying them kila wakati? The answer is very simple. We have dreams and plans. Hizo dreams, ndoto na mipango yetu inabaki, haikufi. Lazima tungangane nayo mpaka tuitimize. Na nitawapatia example moja ni ya the salary increment ya wachungaji ilifanywa in the year 2020, 22, 21, 22. Sasa mchungaji ako na barua inamuonyesha kwamba ako na increment na haumpatile kitu barua inasema. Ifako mchungaji akitoka nje atapeleka kotini na atakuangusha mbaya sana. I work there, so I know. Already niko na kesi mchungaji wengi wampeleka mikotini. There's one where moja ilisha, ingine bado tuko nayo tunang'ana nayo. So when you the plans and dreams haziwezi kufa, lazima zibaki tuko nazo. I'll give you an example. Hii mitambo tumepata leo hii. It's been in the plans. But hatujakuwa na pesa. Sasa ile tunaokota kwa arrears kidogo imesaidia sisi kufika mahali penye tumefika. Another example. Last year pikipiki mliniahidi kwa hii conference. Munipatie pikipiki ya watu wa Bura. Hiyo pikipiki kesho wako hapa. Nimeita hao wako hapa kuchukua pikipiki yao. So Clark, kama unajua hujapeana pesa yangu 5,000 ya pikipiki, enda kwa mfuko between now and tomorrow, make sure I'll be handing all that pikipiki tomorrow. And not just that. Nimeita wenzetu kutoka kule Kwale. We have a team from Kwale Kinango, they'll be here. They are here. I have a team from Tana River, wako hapa. I have a team from Lamu, wako hapa. Kesho pia wanahitaji. So I cannot kill off the arrears element because these plans lazima ziendelee. Na kanisa ni imani by faith. I have faith that we can do it if we chose to do the correct thing. As I conclude, conflicts is another issue that has made us really suffer. Zile mikutano ambazo ziko na vita ndio unapata shida mingi ya pesa pia inatendeka. We've spent so much time trying to solve conflicts, badala kungangana kwenda mbinguni. Tunapigana, tunaharibu pesa. You know, you find some meeting, you've had like 100 committee meetings. Lazima nichukue wazee kutoka Mombasa, nilete hapa. Nakuru wakuja hapa. You must transport them. Lazima walale, wakunywe chai, wakule ugali. Na hiyo ni pesa ya kanisa ambayo ingenunua pikipiki ya kwenda kutafuta washiriki na kusaidia watu katika mikutano. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Let's go missions. God bless you all. Clap for me. We are still friends, but only if you do what I command. And we all know what God commands. Spices. Yes, we are simple. Are we peaceful? I don't know. Do we have integrity? I don't know. Community. Are we equal? I don't know. Are we good stewards? Hiyo mujijibu nyi wenyewe. Treasurer, tutao. I think we are, so can we then adopt with that the additions? Can I get a proposal and a seconder to that financial report? Pastor Chasimba kutoka Nakuru, asante sana. Seconder? Yes, nimeona pale. Najua nilikunyima nafasi kuongea. Nikumbusha jina. Sorry? O Daniel Nyongesa kutoka Ngong Road. So nitaalika auditor treasurer aweze kumwalika auditor. Naambiwa chai iko tayari. So I hope we'll be able to go through that quickly and be able to finish. Otherwise, friends, I think we know what we need to do. Unless we are suffering from mental health. But leo tumefundishwa about how to sort out the issues of mental health. So hiyo mafundisho ya dada yetu Maureen isiende bure, itusaidie tuweze kurekebisha kanisa likue katika njia sawa. Si vizuri kuwa example ya kulialia kila wakati. Linafanya sometimes people look at the church in a very, very negative way, and is real. Normally when we post pastors to meetings, viongozi huwa wanapatiwa wachungaji wapeleke kwa mikutano. And I remember one day I was driving a pastor to a meeting, I will not say, and we were chatting in the family, alikuwa na watoto wake. And when we were talking about careers, and the child was asked, wewe ungependa kuwa nini? Akasema mimi nataka kuwa vitu mingi lakini sitaki kuwa mchungaji. Nikamuuliza kwa nini? Unajua wachungaji bana wana stress mingi sana. So let's not leave this conference with that kind of thing. Ogango, you ready? Yeah, I think he's ready. So we can take off within the shortest time possible and have a cup of tea.
Thank you very much, Clark, and thank you, members, for being patient. Now, the next agenda is the audited financial statements for the year 2024. They appear in your booklet. Before I just go there, I want my treasurer to come here and say hi to you. Now that this job is not done by me alone.
Praise God. Praise God again. I'm so happy with the discussion, with your contribution. And as clerks, I'm so happy because you are alert. You know your numbers, eh? Clerks, you know your numbers? You don't know your numbers. I can see. Okay, thank you. Clerk, through the contribution from members, so many are lamenting on the budget. And the bigger part of the budget is our staff, who are our clergy. And I would wish to request or to comment on maybe we can do a centralized financial software so that we be able to curb our finances through our meetings. And someone said, if I'm giving you, if I have 1,000, I can give you 60%. Through centralization of our finances, we are able to tell if it is Ngong Road, we can get 10%, we get 5% from Kibera, and other percents from other monthly meetings. I think, Clark, if you go that way, we won't be able to struggle with the finances or also getting the data from our meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Treasurer. Now, we'll be very quick here because of time. I know we spent quite some time. Na nimeona rafiki yangu hapa, sikujua ako hapa, CPA Kibisu. Mlisema ni D what? D school. Yes. He's a friend of mine, tulisoma na yeye mahali. I'm not sure kama alijua niko hapa. Karibu sana. CPA. I'll welcome the auditor after I have explained to you your audited financial statements that appear in your booklet from page 83 from page 83 all the way to page 109. Page 83 to page 109. Now, the auditors for these financial statements were KKPO, the partner who was in charge of that audit. CPA Joshua Gashoma is here. I will call him immediately after I finish analyzing them for you to present the audit certificate, which appears on page 91, 92, and 93. Let me take you to page 94. So open your booklet, go to page 94. Now, as a treasury, we want to give thanks to God for allowing us to report income for the church. And we want to thank you members for your contribution this year, because at least we can see that God increased you in a way that He knows best. And you increased your contributions to the yearly meeting. The total income you see there is the first total income is the secretariat income. And those are remittances that came to the yearly meeting, including other collections of income that you can see, and they are detailed in notes there. So we received a total of 66 million in the year, but generally the whole income, and I want to congratulate treasurers for submitting. All treasurers from meetings submitted their finance reports. From those reports combined with the income that we have, we increased our income as a church by 17.7 million. And meetings alone reported an increase of 13.5 million. If you want to capture the income of your monthly meeting, it appears on page 108. 108. You will see that when we total up reported income by the church, meetings, programs, and our center, we received a total of 186.7 million as a church. So if you add that, that is where it gives you a total combined income that increased to 186 million from 173 million the previous year. The secretariat income increased slightly due to an increase associated with the fundraise we did, but also a slight increase in rental income. For meetings, you will note the following meetings had a significant increase in income. Nairobi reported an increment of 5 million. Langata reported an increment of 4.7 million. Donholm reported an increment of 4 million. Makadara reported an increment of 3.1 million, while Kariobangi, Karioko, Kawangware, Mombasa, Nakuru, and Thika reported an increase of slightly over 1 million. The rest of us, we reported an increment of slightly less than that. But we note that meetings like Kabete decreased their income by 8.6 million. Friends Center Maringo, 5.5 million, while Malindi decreased by 1 million. So that is what happened to our income. You have a graphical presentation of that income. You can see in the current year, income went up a bit generally across board from 2022 to 2023. So we are praying that your pockets continue increasing so that we can continue increasing. Now, still on that page, page 94, page 94, the expenditure combined increased by a total of 10.8 million, with meetings increasing their expenditure by 5 million. So the previous year, they reported a total expenditure of 163 million, and in this year, they reported a total expenditure of 168 million. That figure of meetings and programs can still be found on page 108. There's a column there called expenditure. So you can locate your own meeting on that particular page. So the increase in monthly meetings mainly resulted from Makadara, some 2.7 million increment, Langata, 2.6 million, Kariobangi, Mombasa, Kawangware, and Thika reported a slight increase of just over 1 million. Meetings that had a reduced expenditure, we had Donholm at 2.5 million, Mile Saba and Malindi just slightly reduced their expenditure by 1 million. Maringo Center reduced that expenditure by 5.5 million, but it was mainly due to the cash problem that that center experienced in that particular year. You also saw their income actually declined significantly in that particular year. So that is what happened to your expenditure. The expenditure at the Secretariat, mainly, you can see the graph there, it is staff costs that take nearly everything that you send to Nairobi LA meeting. And you can see how that graph looks like. That blue bar is staff costs. When I told you what we sign as costs mainly at NYM are actually staff costs. That graph shows you, and that's why the crack is crying all the time. Mission work. Yes, paying staff is part of mission, but the real mission work is dwindling. We can't even see. Clark, can you see your graph? Hakuna kitu. Haiko hata iwezi wekwa kwa graph. So the clerk is actually rightfully fighting that we put mission on the graph. So we need to change that graph. Hiyo ianze kubadilika. Now, go to page 95. The statement of financial position. We have been looking at the statement of comprehensive income, the statement of financial position. Now, the yearly meeting reported assets worth 1.78 billion, a slight increment of 7.6 million from 2023. Now, a lot of that 7.6 billion was made up of the work in progress in Vikwatani that was happening that time. We still have a church that is incomplete, and the loose that we are doing there, 1.1 million was related to that. 4.6 million is an increment in investments. USFW followed the queue of NYM to do some investment, and they invested 3.3 million. The yearly meeting invested 1.5 million, and Ngong Road monthly meeting invested 1.7 million. We capitalized some 4.2 million in Vikwatani, the toilets we built there, while then again depreciation formed 2.5 million. Your current assets, you can see your current assets there, majorly made up of receivables and cash and bank. You can see that there was an increment of 19.9 million. So the total current assets stood at 48 million compared to 28 million the previous year, 2023. And this is just informed by an increment of the Secretariat current assets of 3.6 million, largely made up of receivables from QICL, the money they hold on our behalf from the plaza. Monthly meetings increased their receivables by 11 million, largely made up of course, Nairobi monthly meeting expecting 8.8 million. Ngong Road and Langata followed there. Mile Saba, 3.4 million, and Friends Center Maringo, 2.7 million. The cash and bank increased by 5.1 million. Below there, and then you have liabilities. The long-term liabilities for monthly meetings was 13.3 million, comprising of Donholm, 4.5 million, a reduction of 7.5 million, meaning they liquidated some of those liabilities. And FCCO, they have a loan of 8.8 million, which increased from 1.8 million in 2023 due to their renewal of a loan facility with their bank. Now, current liabilities increased by 10.7 million. So you have FCCO, of course, increasing by 3 million, Donholm 1.6 million, Langata 1.3 million, Nairobi 0.9 million, and the Secretariat 1.7 million. And that is explained mainly because of payroll liabilities that were outstanding as at the end of that year. Now, when all that is said and done, your fund balances are appearing on page 96. Page 96, you'll see your fund balances there. We have the capital fund, the funds, the movement of funds within our monthly meetings, and the general fund that explains the movement of funds within the Secretariat. So that graph is there for you to see. I will not go into that detail, but you can see the movement for the last 4 years from 2021 to 2024. Now, That is a summary of your financial statements. The last statement is on page 97, which is a statement of cash flow, the cash flow statement. This statement simply depicts how money moved within our church. And we are saying that in that year, we managed to raise about 25 million from our normal operations, 21 million from our normal operations. We spent 11.48 million financing purchases and long-term borrowing. And then we invested about 4.6 million. I've talked about that. And then the total cash balance was 16.8 million. So for the first time, the Secretariat is reporting an investment on its own budget savings. You remember when we sat here the other year, we said that the Secretariat will be saving about 5% of their budget, isn't it? And they managed to invest that saving of 1.5 million. And as we speak today, they have managed to raise just slightly over 100,000 Kenya shillings from that investment. Simwapigie makofi. So they are not just using your money, they are also doing what? Huh? So I want to invite the auditor, CPA Gashomo. Let me see whether I can project your audit certificate. That audit certificate is in your books. I'm trying to locate the signed accounts. When I do, I'll project that for you, but it appears in your booklet. From here. So I'll allow the auditor from KKCO. He can tell us who is KKCO and then read for you your audit certificate. Thank you. Karibu.
Thank you. Thank you, Treasurer. It's an evening. Good evening. And praise the Lord. Yes, my name is CPA Joshua Gashomo. I serve God in various capacities within the body of Christ. But at KKCO Africa LLP, I work as engagement partner. And so my work is basically then to review reports and again to do audit and assurance as I serve God. Our auditor's opinion or audit certificate is page number 91, 92, 93, but we can begin on the 91 where we have the letterhead. And again, to say that KKCO East Africa LLP, we are certified public accountants. We confirm that we are independent of the Friends Church. We also confirm that when we reviewed your books, we also sent auditors read by CPA Wekesa, who are also independent of the Friends Church. We also work in the body of Christ within a number of churches, and where we now serve God. That is including the CITAM, the ACK, the Conference of Catholic Bishops, among many other churches. In our report, as I say that for you to open there, is to say that we have reviewed your books, and our work was to look at the accounts that were prepared again through management, and again presented to us, and express an independent opinion on the accounts that are given through the general board.
We have looked at the risks that are there by looking at are you susceptible as a church, as a ministry, to any risk of material misstatements that would come from fraud or from error, especially in those who prepares the books. We have looked at the risk profile that has been done by the church. We have looked at the policies that are there. That is a finance policy, a procurement policy, just guiding the management on how to run the organization and how to do things. We have checked deeply your internal controls, asking the question, how do you make a payment at the Friends Church? What document reside a payment? And what constitute that valid payment? Are you paying in cash? Are you paying in through checks? Any risk exposure? Again, out of that. And we have then looked at that control environment within the environment of an audit. And all the items you have mentioned here, from the loan that you took and the loans that you are paying, from the assets you have, which are the buildings, the land that you have, that again came to our attention. We reviewed them to check whether they actually exist and whether the balances thereof are true and fair. We again also looked at any asset you have, from a debtor, from somebody who owes you, or some monthly remittances that have not come. We have also looked at the salaries that are heavy in the account, as has been described by the treasurer, looking at the component that constitute the big portion. And again, looking at any expenses that you incurred as a ministry. Notable is just what has been said by the treasurer, that when you look at the ministry, the program activities, allowed ministry goes down because a lot of funds have gone through to pay through the staff. Kenya, again, just as I go to reading the opinion, is that we are also experiencing a lot of changes within the compliance area. These are coming in because of the new taxes that have come in. For example, February next year, we are sitting in another, the second last implementation of the NSSF Act of 2013, which will be very heavy on the church, on the ministry. And if you look at your numbers, you will see the NSSF component now has gone down, up, almost to double the amount that you used to pay. This is coupled with now the normal laws that we have for the social health authority, where we are paying a lot for our health care, and where we are also paying affordable housing. And so there is a lot of issues to do with payment of statutories and monies going out for compliance. Again, we have reviewed those and checking whether those were complied with. And I've also offered advisory, and especially on the movement of the tier 2, again, to Britam, where your fund should be, because the law allows you to do so. Again, based on all that, then we have issued our opinion, which then I'll proceed to read. That this is, again, the report of the independent auditors to the members of the Friends Church, Quakers, Nairobi yearly meeting on the financial statement for the year ended that 1st December 2024. Again, in terms of the opinion, we have audited the financial statements of Friends Church, Quakers, Nairobi yearly meeting, are set out on pages 10 to 23, which comprise the statement of financial position as at December 31, 2024, and the statement of comprehensive income, statement of changes in funds, and statement of cash flows for the year then ended, and a summary of significant accounting policies and other explanatory notes. In our opinion, the financial statement presents fairly in all material respect the financial position of the Friends Church Quakers Nairobi yearly meeting as at December 31, 2024, and its financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standard for small and medium-sized entities. Again, to say again that this is a clean opinion on those numbers. We have, however, issued something called an emphasis of matter. Again, just as described by the treasurer, that when you come to the monthly meetings, again, not all the monthly meetings have been audited. And so the numbers that we see there, the incomes and the expenditure that has then been included in the account, not all have been subjected to an independent audit. Again, drawing from the various challenges that have been already mentioned. Again, that emphasis of matter has not made us to qualify the account, but again, just to emphasize that those items or those monthly meetings and those amounts have not been subjected to an independent audit that would then give an assurance on all their transactions. Again, this is what I would say again about the accounts, and we are fairly happy about the presentation. We are also fairly happy about the management comments that we have made, and in terms of the status of the implementation. And going forward, we have we know that these events of implementing comments and issues that come out after an audit, then it's a continuous progress that we shall also be reviewing. Again, Chair, I hope that is what I should say at that point. Thank you.
Let's clap for the auditor. Thank you very much. CPA Gashomo, you can take your seat. And we want to thank you for the good work your auditors did. I think Chair Executive can attest to what happened to them in the executive meeting when the auditors came. And we said the auditors must come here and tell you what is happening. They spend a whole afternoon discussing the item called audit. And your auditors were very candid. So thank you very much for that good work done. With that, clerk, we submit the audited report.
Thank you so much. So then can we adopt that report and maybe then have one or two interventions? So, Posa? Yeah, yes, Clerk Ogoe, Changamwe, then Stanley. Stanley, we proposed before. Can I get somebody else? Yes, Clerk Ngaiwa, Ngong Road. So Clerk Ogoe proposing, then Clerk Ngaiwa, Ngong Road, seconding. So any quick comment? Yes, Clerk Ogoe. Then Alex, microphone iko karibu. Naona vijana wameenda kupumzika, wamechoka. Clerk Ogoe, unaweza karibia hapa. Chukua hii yangu. Then you can take that at the back. Clerk, take this. Peleka hiyo nyuma.
Bwana asifiwe. Yangu ni just the problems that we have been facing, and we need to get solutions that are pertaining to the problems that always we are experiencing with some of the monthly meeting and some of the local meetings, as we have seen in the audited report. I would want to say that it has come to the attention of all delegates that most of the QCCs or the clerks are not giving the right reports, me included, maybe. But this happens, especially when we are in the board meeting, we find there is a Kariobangi report, which is always there, giving a right and accurate information. But we find that the most important thing is the elevating of monthly of some of the meetings to a monthly meeting or to a local meeting. The time we are doing this, Bwana PC, there is criteria and they are meeting this criteria 100%. After that, you find there is lapse. In this delegate, to me, I think it is very important for us to have an article that makes us recall the status of a meeting that is misbehaving. If we don't do this, we shall be crying all day, all night. Pastors are not paid, pastors are not. You see, if you are building something 17 million, whatever, and pastors are crying, that thing is can be struck by lightning by God. It is possible because we are not taking this issue seriously of pastors. So please let us get this clear that we have an article which can make us in the Constitution to recall the status of these meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk, for this opportunity.
Thank you.
When auditor, I've seen a high level of competence in your report and even in your presentation. Clerk, my name is Muchera Hannington, member of the Service Commission, Ngong Road monthly meeting. I am a worried member because the property and equipment at Ngong Road is not valued. That's my biggest worry as I leave this conference.
Thank you. Let's have two quick ones, then we close. Billy, chap hapo. Oh, kuna ingine kwa kona? Okay. Briefly, chai imepoa.
Yes, asante. Kwangu ni kwa sababu ya unapoangalia ripoti ya audit yaonyesha ya kwamba only 3 monthly meetings ndio zilikuwa able kupata ile independent audit, na we know ya kwamba each monthly meeting tuko na samana huwa inapeana regarding audit. So najaribu tu kufikiria kwamba based on our monthly meetings we have 25, na najaribu kuangalia figa ya kutumia kwa kufanya maamuzi. Maybe can we improve that figure, ama pia iwe vizuri tunapata kujua what are those monthly meetings ambazo zilipata kukuwa audited. Asante.
Thank you. Eric bana, wewe kwota yako imeisha. 20 seconds.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Sweti Barnabas from Njiru. My question to Bwana Auditor. Yes, Njiru under my Saba monthly meeting. My question to the auditor is, you've talked about the internal control systems that we have in place. So my take will be, are they strong enough to prevent frauds and errors in our system? And if they are there, what is your view and what is the way forward to correct those, the internal errors that we might have for the future?
Eric, 10 seconds at the back there, and you just come to Malaysia.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
My question is, and it has been raised by the commissioner here. This is a matter that I've been following up for the last 4 years. Audited accounts for QICL. When you talk about QICL being owned by NYM, when I stand here, I'm NYM. So I'm expecting to see the statements for QICL in this booklet. They're not there. With that now, it can also bring down to the fact that this is the question that I raised in 2021. Why is it now we can see Friends Center of Fafa on the list, but you can't see Friends International Center, which is being run by QICL there. So we need, if we want to talk of transparency and everything, we need to have everything declared here. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's finish. Tunapokuja hapa mbele. There's a hand up here? Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Clark. My name is Chaplain Hannington Mulamba from Maidisaba. Clark, the audit and our auditor has given us opinions, and we have been in some meetings. You tithe, and when you attend the general committee in your meeting, you get the treasurer giving a postdated check, and yet we tithed cash money. So I don't know how far and how long we're going to stay in that state by serving a postdated check, yet we tithed clean cash money. So
thank you, Chaplain.
Try to help us where we are going and where we are coming from.
Thank you, Chaplain. That's a good one. There's another hand. Yes, sir, Clark. We are in your territory, so we can't leave you out.
Thank you, Clark. My friend Ogoy here, we have been friends for quite a long time, and I regard him as an elder. I just wanted to request him not to ask the heavens to bring down lightning to a very noble project that is happening in Ngong Road. That particular meeting, I worship their Clark, and they have a noble project and very serious with it. And I want to say to fact that they have no problems in paying the budget. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clark.
That specific local church with an investment of 17 million. Thank you.
Thank you, Clark. So the last one.
For the first time in history, we've received a very thorough audited report.
Let's clap for ourselves. Umemaliza?
And I want to thank that the team that has done that. However, from our side, we need also to improve. Like in this report, we don't see the grants being captured, the grants we get. Like for this year, the admin has told us of how we've got sponsorship on various whatever. So we need to get that. So this year it must be captured. And also I request the conference expenditure to be to have its column, so that we understand how we spend on our conferences, whether it's quality, whether we need to improve, especially on things like food and whatever. And then we also need to know so that another team that comes after this should know whether we are improving or we are not.
Thank you. Tushara, please come and thank you so much. I think let's stop there. Tushara.
Thank you, Clerk. I will not respond to the recall request. I leave that to your office. The comment by our senior clerk, Ogoy. Property Ngong Road not valued. And thank you for raising that particular question, because we have requested until you cannot request anymore the asset register of our meetings. And I'll tell you for free, majority of these meetings did not submit. The chair service commission, where are you? Chair service is not here. The vice is here. Can you tell us why Ngong Road property is not valued? That is a matter of service commission.
Thank you, Treasurer. And it's not only Ngong Road anyway. We have requested all the monthly meetings to have their properties valued. We have given out a list of valuers that can be consulted, valuers that we have engaged and discussed with on the issue of fees. But monthly meetings don't seem to be very keen to do it. Recently, we even went to one particular one that we thought would be very fair in their value. And the chairman, my chairman, is coming to talk to each monthly meeting and get some particular details of the value wanted. And then we should have those properties valued. But we feel let down by the monthly meetings because we have asked for it and it has not come. So Ngong Road have not given us the valuation as we are requested.
Thank you. So the issue goes back to yourselves. As we report what we are able to get from you, and once we report, it is good that we are reporting so that you ask yourselves those questions and then we answer ourselves. So you've heard what the service commissioner has said. Please go back and give us the valuation of your properties. It is true. And that minute has been sitting in the board for a very long time. So please and it is the clerks, most of them, all clerks sit in that board. So we can solve that problem. The chair of the board here I said, he is very optimistic. He cannot write off that prayer. There was a question on, it was not really a question, I think maybe the senior pastor asked about audit fees. It is true. But if we want to audit, and the auditors here are very ready to do that anyway, we will have to increase our audit fees for us significantly for us to be able to audit all meetings so that we can report on all meetings here. Again, it will come back to you to finance that particular agenda if you want to audit all monthly meetings as part of the annual audit. So if you make that resolution here, as your treasurer, I will implement the yesterday. Now I'm an auditor, I like vitu zikienda sawa. Where I work currently, we are auditing a number of churches, and you heard the auditor say they audit churches. We have a church that is auditing all its meetings. All. Na report inaenda central kule. Na kila meeting inajibu maswali yake ya audit. Alafu munapatiwa action plan. Munapatiwa na timeline by when you are going to implement that audit report. So we can do it, but it requires resources. Again, the decision is here. It lies with you. There was a question on internal controls. I'm going to allow the auditor to answer that one. It's not, I'm the one who is supposed to make sure that controls are working. PICL audited accounts. Auditor, I'll call you after I finish these questions that are here. QICL audited accounts. Now, I want all of you to go to page 104. And before I tell you what happens on that page 104, QICL is audited by an independent auditor. And their report is presented to the members of QICL. And every meeting here has a representative in QICL. So I want to presume when that happens, muliletewa hiyo report, mkasoma. What we did as a Nairobi yearly meeting, because QICL is fully owned by Nairobi yearly meeting, we looked at the audited report of QICL and determined that nearly all transactions in the QICL report are actually NYM church transactions. Why am I saying that? QICL, as we speak now, manages our plaza at FIC. They also manage our facility in Bikwatani. And now that we didn't go there, so they don't have much to report. And the only thing QICL gains from managing those is 7% commission from the money they collect on our behalf. Now, 7% of our own property is not significant material enough for us to carry those accounts here. What we have done, if you go to note 10, related party transactions, you'll see we have detailed there what QICL does on our behalf. And you can see quite a significant expense portfolio that QICL spends on our behalf, which is what significantly QICL does. So it was not necessarily important for us to, again, spend a lot of money printing the QICL accounts for you. They were presented to your members. You can get them. If you come to the secretariat, we can again give you that audited report. But the moment you go through note 9 and note 10 of these financial statements, I will tell you it is not important for you to look at the audited accounts of QICL because that significantly forms that part. And that informs you the issue of FIC and FCCO. There was a question there. Unless you are referring to FIC, the church itself. I'm not quite sure whether that is the question, but you can clarify. The issue of post-dated check. Sasa hiyo mnaosha dirty linen kwa mkutano mkubwa kama huu, lakini it is important the point of I tithe and then a meeting gives post-dated. I'm an accountant, so when you give a post-dated check, it means that wakati huo hauna pesa ya kulipa hiyo expense, ndio? Lakini unajua kwamba ikifika hiyo tarehe umeandika kwa hiyo check, utakuwa na hiyo pesa alafu ulipe, si ndio? I know that is what it means. So I want to presume that that treasurer at that point, they were meant to pay that money, but it was not in the bank account and they had to manage their cash flow, ndio at least waisongeshe mbele kidogo, waweze kulipa hiyo deni walikuwa nayo. But I'm presuming, because I'm an accountant, but it also speaks to the management of cash in our local churches. Our auditor, the clerk, talked about audit reports here. If you read the audit reports that come from our meetings, you will find we are not doing service to accounting for church resources. And your clerks sit in the board. The audit reports are always presented in the board. And we are hoping that when the recommendations are made, you are implementing them down there. We are going to continue helping you to make sure you do proper accounting. It is part of our duty. But again, you have the responsibility to work on keeping God's resources safe. Capture conference costs. I'm not sure if the delegate who asked that question, if you go to note 7 of your financial statements, you will find conference expenses clearly marked there. In fact, as the first item, we spent about 2.5 million on conference, and QICL also ran some conferences on our behalf. If you go to note 9, you'll again see how much we spend on conferences run on our behalf by QICL. We spent 1.4 million. So I think that's captured. You may have missed that, but if I misunderstood your question, we can clarify. Just look for me and we can get it right. Thank you. The auditor? Internal controls, are they strong enough to prevent fraud? And if not?
I'll answer directly, Treasurer and the clerk. What I see with the church is that you are now growing. The incomes are going up. We are now at a very high level where now we tighten most of our controls. Scripture says in Luke 12:48 that to whom much is given, much is expected. And therefore, to answer the friend directly, you will now be required to up the expectations because now you have much that is given to you. And to start the journey, to answer directly, you do away with manual and go to systems. Don't do anything manual, go to systems. Adopt systems. Systems have inbuilt controls that then avoid human and replaces with systems. And so the errors minimize. God bless.
Thank you, Auditor. You don't need anything precise than that, isn't it? Tumewaambia mtumie QuickBooks, lakini bado mnanitumia report ya Excel. Sasa mnataka treasurer afanye namna gani? Please, we have room to improve, but we thank God for where you are. Asante.
Tuwapigie makofi. And now, finally, on the matter, the general board did recommend that we give the auditors a 1-year final extension a 1-year final extension term to do for us this job in the next financial year before we consider changing them. So can I get a proposer and a seconder for that? Yes, I've seen Edward Limanye Njoro, Sadi Clark Njoro. Then I've seen Pastor Ongidi kutoka Naivasha. Nashukuru sana. Just to tie up on this as we So we have adopted the audit report and extended the term of the auditor. Now, GS has just reminded me that in his report, which he shared this morning, and this again confirms that we've not been able to look at this. And as I said, we are spending so much time. Look at page 16 of our booklet in the report from the Secretariat. In the last annual general conference, we have resolution number 9, which is very, very clear. And that's what the Vice Chair Service Commission told us here, that all churches who are required to do what? Carry out a valuation of their property, develop fixed asset registers, and risk management policy. And when the companies that were to assist us are there. So it's up to us to really just implement this. And these matters are no joke. And I like giving examples because, I work in where we use a lot of evidence. The other day, I got a report, I'm waiting for the formal one, about one of our churches where walikosana kidogo. Sasa mchungaji na viongozi kadhaa wakabeba viti zangu na mitambo wakaenda. Sasa nikaambiwa niende kwa polisi. Now as a lawyer, when I go to the police, they need evidence. So what do I tell them? Ilibebwa. I have nothing. But if you have an asset register, which clearly shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 belongs to you, you can at least have some demonstration. The issue of valuation is with us. We have to spend money to know what we are worth. Then risk management is about insurance. The moment we have almost 10 insurance companies out here, clerks, engage them and find out how they can insure some of these things. Equipment is worth almost $1 million shillings plus. Today, if somebody stole one of those small gadgets, it takes you ages. It has taken us so much time to buy this. If we lose them, it becomes very, very problematic. So friends, let's take that very, very seriously. Then the issue of the accounts, we've been dwelling mainly more on the Secretariat and just some touch up here and there. We've not gone deeply into all the monthly meetings. We have 25 monthly meetings, nearly 100 local churches spread in 15 counties. Now his bill, if it comes, itakuwa juu kiasi. But I think we should engage and find out how much it costs so that then we can be able to allow the auditors to be able to audit all our meetings. Then as we were sharing about the challenges in finances, I know we say that clerks or lay leaders must take strong action to be able to support our ministers of the gospel and all that. But I also want to challenge the clergy, and this came from Dr. Hayamba, that the clergy must also feed the flock. Unajua ukilisha kondoo na ng'ombe, maziwa hata utakunywa kabla hajafikia ugango hapa kwa ground. So when the flock is well fed, the clergy will not cry because the members will just feel good in supporting the clergy. So the clergy must also play their dutiful role. So we've talked a lot of things, but the solutions to most of our challenges lie with ourselves. And that's why as I invite GS to come over and proceed, share with me on page number 1, the first stanza and chorus. That's where our problems are. Pastor Nenta yuko hapa angetuimbia peleleza. That's the answer to our problems. That's what I'm saying in short. Can you sing that first stanza and chorus? as years comes in and I go to sit down. Can you lead us that song?
Eleleza ndani yangu iwe safinia kwangu kama kwako Mungu ibiri pia. Kelele za moyo wangu unifunulie yaliyomo ndani yangu nami niyajue. Asante sana. Thank you so much, Clark. You know, at times, Clark is saying things here which are very heavy. Ati wewe ulinunua kiti ukaleta kanisani kikaombewa. Kwa sababu moja ama nyingine unakuja kubeba hicho kiti bila minute. Unaitwaje? Halo? Mnanipata vizuri? Alafu unachukua kiti pamoja na maombi ambayo iliombea hiyo kiti. Unapeleka kwa nyumba yako. Umepeleka nini kwa nyumba? Mungu tupeleleze mioyo yetu, si ndio? Now, we are behind our schedule. So badly. I want to request ya kwamba tusimame, tukunwe chai. Nataka niulize Mrs. Pastor Lugusa. Ombea hii chai, kunwa tu mara moja na urudi, so that tumalizie hizi ripoti zingine. Mambo ni mengi.
Tuamini na tuombe. Baba, katika jina la mwanao Yesu Kristo, tunakuja mbele zako jioni njema ya leo, tunakuinua, tunakuabudu. Asante Jehova, umetuandalia kikombe cha chai. Jehova, tunaomba ya kwamba tunapokitumia kiweze kuwa cha manufaa kwa miili zetu. Kibarikishe katika jina la Yesu, nimeamini na kuomba. Amen.
Asante, kunwa chai ukijinyosha vizuri. Alafu turudi tumalizie maripoti zetu. Mambo ni mengi. Hey. Mambo haya ni mengi.